Coming from Wales, being around a table in a meeting where everyone was black, having black leaders at the table was very important. We don't often get a chance to do that in Wales.
I have loved being in black-only spaces or black majority spaces where people are collaborating and actively looking for opportunities to collaborate.
People find it hard to stand up and to take compliments and to take, hear words being said, words of affirmation towards you that we're not used to hearing that. And so by standing in that truth, it is a beautiful thing to see. And I think we've shared tears and laughter and joy for the past 2 years with one another. We're now quite comfortable, I think, to be able to do that and to show our vulnerability.
And to think about how we serve our community and serving them through the richness of our ancestry. That is something that I've really taken from this group and something that we're bringing into my day-to-day workspace.
Being a leader, but being a black leader in particular, can actually be quite lonely. It's hard when you can't have as open and honest conversations with your team. You also kind of have open conversations with your board, but also that has to kind of be censored in a way too. And so it's been a beautiful space where we've been able to develop relationships at the speed of trust, which I think has allowed us to be a bit more open and vulnerable and free in conversation with each other.
This was a different way of working outside of the norm by placing what we do in a calabash of African-centered thought.
What predates the Black Mental Health Collective is an Ubuntu mental health lab that was in Crete, where Yancy and Patrick Vernon brought together, I think there was probably 20 black people that were working in the field, and there were funders, there were leaders, there were mental health practitioners, there were people with lived experience and expertise. And the intention and the idea was for us to think a little bit more about black mental health and how we might move forward in the UK with that. Ariel, who was there, she just started a role at Mind as head of race equity. She was there, it was her first week, and I think based on the experience that she had, which was around connecting with other black people in the field, she brought that back to Mind and wanted to replicate something similar or use a similar approach and methodology to help Mind to think a bit more about equitable partnerships themselves.
Mind has been on such a journey on their anti-racism commitment, and they've done so much learning. They've been put out in the press around being racist, around all sorts of things.
Myself and our wider organisation were probably a little bit sceptical about this being another racial equity initiative, especially after a critical incident or organisation being labelled as institutionally racist.
For me, it feels almost a little bit extractive.
I wouldn't say extractive, but I would say there's a void between its potential and our intention.
It was an extractive relationship from my point of view. They were wanting to take from us how to go about and do equitable partnerships better.
And so if people are feeling, the work was extractive, and whether that's a positive thing, a negative thing, or it just was, I think that is absolutely fine, because this was meant to be a test and learn, and that's what we've done.
That's the whole point of the pilot, to come together with black-led organisations to create something that's innovative.
This was brought together by Mind to ask the very specific question, and therefore in and of itself that means it's inequitable.
I am Yancy Wilson. I'm a clinical psychologist and a member of both the Black Mental Health Collective and the Black Mental Health Alliance.
Yancy's been facilitating the piece, but she's invited me in to assist in thinking about how do we take the members of the group on the journeys that she thinks that they needed to go on. In Mind is a mental health organisation, and the collective was mind-facing, but the alliance was kind of more outward-facing, and it was about kind of black people saying, this is what we want, this is what we need, both in terms of a service, but also in terms of what it is that black people need in terms of good mental health.
And how can we create that system change involving everybody from every levels of society? So whether it's the politicians, whether it's the NHS services, the education, it's housing, it's a criminal justice system. How can we take that multidisciplinary approach to creating a movement that just deals with that and dismantling some of the inequalities and injustices that impact on our mental health and well-being. Those activists within the organization who were senior leadership members actually left the organization when they had their first restructure.
It would have been very useful for more senior leadership to be a part of the experience.
Often, when there is need for systems change, you cannot have that high to low relationship.
Mine were holding the money, mine were holding the direction, mine were holding the staff.
The focus changed, I would say, from like focusing so much on like figuring out or helping Mind to figure out what equitable partnerships mean for them. To thinking about or just developing organically like partnerships and equitable partnerships between each other.
We smell things and we take it for granted. You know the saying, they say smell the roses.
No, number 9 and 10 are horrific. That's right. They're bad.
Afterwards, you're going to pick 3 to make your medicine.
I've got number 1. Oh, me not like number 6.
You will remember the activity because the smells bring the memory, and you will smell things that will remind you of the collective.
Throughout the experience, there were so many different ways of bringing in kind of exploratory ways of kind of doing the work, but also in a really joyful way. And one of them was with the Lego.
All the different colours represents all the different communities that we work in and the differences of the black community. So basically, I wish these were a little bit more diverse, these little people.
Posing questions and then having people work together to try and figure out the answers in a really visual way was not only really challenging for us because it provides you with a new way of thinking, it was also fun. I mean, there's not much that isn't fun about putting blocks together and then in the best way possible laughing at other people's efforts.
I really loved the Parliament. Where we had the 2 opposing sides and each of us sat on different parties, and then Michael was like the
Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the
He was
House.
like, order! And then we were all standing up
Objection!
like, objection! Mr. Speaker, I will give you a share of my company. A fun way to actually have what are actually really difficult and like potentially like re-traumatizing conversations for us as black people.
What does coming together as a collective of black mental health workers mean to black mental health workers?
You don't have to explain why this is difficult here. You know, everyone seems to get it.
We are working with people in our communities that are at the sharp end of everything that is wrong with our society. But we're in a fancy hotel restoring ourselves so we can go and that's the conflict that I struggle with.
How do you actually make them understand the actual benefits of even just being here?
I think this has been a wonderful experience for how much impact can we have outside these walls. Because that's the bottom line. Because I think when we all came together, we thought this is great, this lab. We're going to go, we're going to do research, and we're going to change the world.
Some of the younger generation clinicians, they are learning from the collective because some of them have referenced things that Jay has said, which I know he got in the space, and they are using it within practice. She and I are members of the Alliance, but it's knowledge from here that helped us shape the manifesto, which is a stepping stone towards changing the world. We need something that says, this is what's wrong with the system. Here's some thoughts on how we're going to change it, but we know it's going to impact on you as a Black person. So we're offering you a space to a little joy and a healing.
What a journey the last 2 years have been. It actually feels like I've known you for much longer. We've shared in experiences as people, leaders, and in the organisations that we run. It is rare that you're able to build such trusted and open and honest relationships with others in this field.
The difference you make is unquestionable. I just hope that you know how important you are. I also, and also how grateful I am that you are on our side. Thank you.
Thank you. People are advocating for you. People are generally rooting for you behind your back. Not everyone is against you, although at times it may feel like it.
You said no crying. It's been a really beautiful space to kind of explore our work, but also ourselves as individuals in a really kind of kind, spiritual, and supportive way.
I probably had a little bit of imposter syndrome when I started, and I think that's, I'm not going to say it's gone, but being part of the collective and being able to talk that through with the collective meant a lot.
I know I'm not the same person. I think I've become a richer and fuller person in terms of who I am as a person, as an individual. And just in terms of my culture, it seems a lot more richer. And the richness in that room, wow.
Does the impact always have to be about huge systems change?
When I do clinical work, I need to find that space to be nourished collectively so I could better impact those individuals that I am working with, who then go on to create change at different levels.
How do we find a language to reclaim that now? You know, to reclaim the idea that all we have to do is hold process.
We can share with you the approach, the how, but actually like the what is not it. That's not the thing that we should be focusing on.
We hold process and we do it well, we know that we'll get the outcome.
Is something like this so far removed from the status quo that it is an off-put to people in positions of decision making?
Some of the stuff that I've been doing have been kind of draped in whiteness, not necessarily because I am not white, but because of the systems and the way of working have been so kind of formulaic, I guess, and finding different ways of working in here and knowing that it's okay to do things differently, to expect a different set of outcomes. You know, that what's that saying? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
The next iteration needs to be, to still Jay's attitude, more about people coming together to heal and improve their practice when they go back to their community.
Yeah, I'll come up again, definitely. Love that.
Sheke, 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 Nitaya, ide were were. 3 times, okay? Ide were were, Nita Oshu, ide were.